everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Guile Treatment. We are going to be talking about Maxi's support for the new upcoming Soul Calibur set. I think we've already talked about the character a bit.
Yep.
Juggle some foundations around, gets momentum, pump stats.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what's his first card?
Yeah, it's getting ready to. Right? It's the action. Let's cut loose. Card, in my opinion, is very, very good. Very, very good. There you go. Hot take right there, kids. You got it. Dad said so. It's really neat because, like, we talked pre-show where we can play it if you need a foundation to block with. You got it, and you get to draw a card, or you can snipe something down, draw a card. It's one of those multi-purpose cards, you know.
Yeah. The absence of a block in the top right of this card is an illusion. Yeah. That is your eyes playing a trick on you. There really is a block there, and it is any foundation block your discard pile can dream of.
Is that kind of like the Punch and Judy static where it says you get a high block, you get a low block?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This thing only has a no block on it to make it better in Kunjin or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know, that's basically the only purpose for which it has no block.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have Cool and Focused, you have Police Connections, you have other cheap blocks. Maybe you're a Morrigan built off of good and you've stacked your deck with cheap foundation blocks. Siegfried certainly likes this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yep. Yeah.
I think one of the things, too, is unless you're maybe on all doing, like, Punch and Judy things, like, these aren't really symbols that run, like, a ton of actions. I guess on good, maybe you're running, like, Stop.
Yep.
But there definitely isn't quite the like large amount of actions on these symbols like there are on others. So this has like less competition.
Well, like on air you have what? Bounce and Roll and Templar for the most part, and Unite.
Yeah, I mean Templar is still like for sure. On air.
Yeah.
But I think this I don't know if you run this in your deck, like if the only thing you're going to be doing is getting like a block when you want it. But especially if you're running Nutcracker, then that just turns it in. If you have this in hand and one of those, like you kind of tutor up whatever you want, bring it down, and then it replaces itself. Like that's the thing is like that cantrip. It's a little bit like Deliverance, where even if for Deliverance, like it didn't have a block, and even if you didn't want to use the R, you could always just remove draw card.
Yeah.
And there really isn't that much draw hate. Venomous definitely hasn't sort of seen the presence like Caught Red-Handed did towards the end of its heyday.
Sure.
So I don't think you have to be too worried about this, just like being dead.
Yeah, and even like if you're attacking and maybe you don't have a way to put a foundation in your card pool, you can always just tutor up that Refusing to Let Go or that Unique. Things like a Unique from Maxi's kit that we'll see later.
Yeah.
That's just really, really good. And you just want to make sure you have that.
Yeah.
And it's +1 card. Anytime you're grabbing a foundation out of your discard, this is going to get you 2 cards total for your 1.
Yeah.
You need to pass the 4 check. But this is sort of like should be pretty easy to slide this in as like a 1x or a 2x in most decks. I don't know how often you run a full 4 because like at some point if you get 2 of these in your hand, how are you really going to be able to leverage it? But right.
True. All right. Cool. Moving on to its asset, Fat Ball. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm just gonna call it Fat Ball. So we got Nutcracker and we got Fat Ball. There we go. We got ball jokes for days on the Guile Treatment, kids. This kind of reminds me of Keo's jacket in a way.
Yeah.
But it comes from hand. It's at the top of deck, so it's a little different. It's not as, I guess, free as Keo's jacket was, I guess, because Keo's jacket was pretty free. But
I mean, Keo's jacket also had the target commit.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's also true. So, and then you get speed and damage on your Fury attack, which is cool. It's more Fury support because it's I guess Furies have been needing support since the whole inception. I mean, but we had Chun-Li, but I like it.
So this doesn't share any symbols with Sasha, right?
No, it does not.
Of course not.
No, it does not. It does not. You mistake yourself. Chun-Li is now the premier Fury character. Sasha doesn't exist anymore.
Sasha, that poor character.
Yeah.
It's like we finally have like reasonably
What's
good
kind of
like,
neat
Fury cards.
With this though is
you can't do any of it.
You could possibly play Spike 2 off of air and get more momentum and add speed and damage to like an Ace Maneuvers or something like that. You know?
Sure.
You know, if you
honestly, yeah, that commit like isn't terrible with his ability.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're trying to kill someone that turn, and you know, like this is just kind of a reusable whatever his foundation is, right?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember, like the one who wanders or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it is from your hand, so that can get a little dicey, but turning basically. Right, especially for like multiples and stuff, like turning a card in your hand into an attack, like that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are decks like Sand Grenade decks that just want all the momentum they can get.
Yep.
But like honestly, just any deck with enough Fury attacks, I'll just toss this in for the free stats.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 speed and 2 damage a turn per attack turn.
Yeah.
For free on a +1 low block.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think anyone's just like, man, should I really put this +1 low block in my deck?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Because
you know. And probably, and I think this is going to be true of like all the assets we preview, maybe, but it's sort of the might as well one of like, unless you're really cramped for space and you have way too many low blocks or whatever. If this is applicable, then put it in there. Like it's going to do stuff for you.
Yeah, if you're running an attack lineup with a lot of Fury attacks and this is unsimple, like it just, I don't know why you wouldn't just throw in one.
Chun-Li loves this card too, because it's technically 5 speed and 1 damage on an attack that you can put on. So you get 3 from her, 2 from this, and all your stuff's all unblockable.
Yeah. You can turn her 1 momentum into a second one for your Dark Cheeritos.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And that was sometimes during the Chicago PTC where I was like, well, I got my 1. How am I going to get the second one, you know? So, all right, Black Serpent. It is his common attack. It's like you said in pre-show, Rob. It's basically glow kick with damage.
Yeah. It's another one in the category of Cassie needed help, I guess.
I mean, she's a bad character. So she needs all the help from her support.
All the help she can get.
Yeah, she's so bad. She's so bad.
I don't know. I mean. It's
a fine card.
Standard.
Yeah,
like, it's just like it's a common. Yeah. Got a bunch of keywords, so you know you're not running this in Guild. But now Maxi doesn't. He can't choose where he puts the foundation, right?
Right.
He has to put it like at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is a little weird. In Maxi, it would be like your second attack on a 6. The other thing about Maxi is that, we'll see later, for the most part, when you put a foundation up, you want to put it back down and not leave it in your card pool. So this is sort of like on theme, but I don't know if it fits in Maxi himself, which is cool, right? That it's cool to have cards like that.
Yeah.
You know, again, we don't. The response to paint by numbers characters has not been great. So this is neat. It makes sense as to why it's in Maxi support, and you know, maybe if you're taking a different line with your Maxi deck instead of using the foundations, you know, you could play this in a Maxi of some kind that's not in on that plan. But for the most part, this is just sort of like another piece for I want to play around with foundations in my card pool decks, of which Maxi may or may not be doing that.
Especially for all, I mean, you still have the stuff like
morals,
sense of morals, and season guide.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know, you can just, if you throw one of those in, you can just sort of be like,
whatever.
True. Not a big deal.
Now,
but even then, like one foundation plus 2, like isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like you really want a bunch. You know, like I could see this in a deck where you're like running this and like some other stuff, and like I was gonna say Yellow Devil, or like something where you're gonna try to use like Hydrofork. You know, like you could just like lead with like have this, do some stuff, and then like Hydrofork to like clear everything away. Yeah, like Yellow Devil's definitely a good character for that. So,
now it is a stun weapon, which is kind of neat because not to kind of hop off him real quick. Does Mitsurugi have good?
Yep.
So we could.
So
there's like there's that stun weapon we were talking about to tie back into the character review episode. Just I'll put a card up in the corner up there, just so if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be up there. So, so moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is ultra rare Raging Dragon Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh boy, it can hit hard.
Yep.
You do not get printed 8 damage on a 5/3 very often.
Yeah.
I think like the first thing you want to do when you look at this card is sort of read that combo and try to mull it over in your head and try to think about whether it's really useful or not. But just take a moment. It's a 5/3 4/8, and that is not a stat line you're going to find very easily.
Like stats wise, it's worth playing. If you get the combo off, you get the combo off. I guess you draw a card, ready. You get say you have 1 momentum, you ready a foundation, then draw a card.
Like the thing is, if you're comboing it, like unless you have one of those like doesn't count to progressives, you're playing it on a 6.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a card that you really, if you're playing it, like you're probably playing it for the stats. I don't know how much that combo is really going to be doing for you.
Sure.
It just seems like there's a lot of like pretty good uses for momentum right now. So like, unless you just have a ton and don't know what to do with it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably like readying one foundation, drawing 1 card is like okay, but if you're looking to find an attack because you're spending a bunch of momentum this turn, presumably because you're hoping to like kill somebody or something, you probably need to be drawing at least like 3 cards to have an even shot at getting an attack. 4 cards if you want to make sure you get an attack. This is. I mean, there do exist decks that are like, you build the deck and you're like, wow, I have no use for momentum, and maybe you can throw this in those kinds of decks.
Yeah, yeah, true. I know.
Especially if you can put some speed on it. I mean, it's fine as sort of like kind of a reset, if you will, of just like, well, like I don't have a very good hand. Like, let me like build a foundation, throw this out there, like dump some momentum to like see a bunch of new cards, and then just play a bunch of foundations and kind of just go, okay, like we'll try again next turn.
What's the Ken card that stacks an attack on top of your deck? Is that not over till you die?
Yeah.
So
that's pretty good.
You could stack the attack to draw it with this. You basically pay 1 momentum to draw an attack. So
I could imagine this in something like an all Yamato man, where
nice,
maybe your only momentum outlets Yamato Spia, and this lets you like shed your extra momentum for something.
Yeah. Yeah, that is 7 mid 9 then in him. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not horrible.
Yeah, you
that's not a bad stat line.
Somebody that's going to be giving it some speed.
Yeah. Like Chun-Li,
or
him. Yeah.
Too bad it doesn't share with Nightmare.
It's not missile launcher. Ding. There you go. Moving on to Snake Wing Sobot. It gives us a kick for that. I think we talked about it in the character show about playing him with maybe Violent Shoryuken. We've talked about that a couple times because that card's really good. So like it gives us the combo requirement and a kick.
I think this is his best attack, and I don't think that's even really close.
No, I agree.
It's sort of interesting too. Like this has 2 keywords, so like this is something you could run in Gil. This is something you could run in like Ivy. It's ease that I think he should be able to do pretty easily. And like I don't know. I guess other people like this is something. I guess even for like Cassie, like adding a foundation from your card pool to your momentum, like that's easy. You know, like if you're someone that has things that are going to be like putting cards in, it's a little bit like the Gyro Man. Gyro attack.
Oh, sure.
For Akuma, where it's just like, I'll like add a face down to my momentum, and my multiple gets this.
Yeah.
So like this, I guess, gains the the multiple. Like it doesn't have it printed, but yeah, I mean it's very much.
Which is kind of good though, because it's harder to get rid of those types of keywords. Because on play stuff, there's still Way a True Warrior and stuff like that that can get rid of that. But this way, it's. I don't think there's really any card unless you seal it. There's no way to really stop it from gaining multiple unless you revoke it, right?
Yeah.
Or like the pit.
Or pit. I guess so. Yeah.
People used to play a 5 difficulty 2 check with a worse block that had minor attacks in your deck requirements. to get this without drawing a card. Right? And
you're talking about Rain Flush.
Rain Flush, yeah. And so this is like, for most intents and purposes, probably all intents and purposes, a better Rain Flush site for one less speed.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And Rain Flush was good enough that it's like borderline still relevant in 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, and one other thing about that second E, you don't have to have, that's not a cost to have the foundation in your card pool.
Oh.
So if you just have momentum, you're like, all right, multiple one.
Yep.
That's
I actually did think that it was.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see the colon. I didn't actually look where the colon was at. So good find, Tim. Good find.
Yeah, and obviously too, like, you don't have to even, like, you know, just because you have the momentum, you don't have to use it. If you know, you can just sort of like get free momentum for something else you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Draw all the cards with Zodiac. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to multiple this, and just watch the look of concern on your opponent's face. Like, all right, what are you actually doing with this momentum?
Yeah, for real. Moving on. Burning with Revenge. A harken back to Long Journey and that static, which is kind of nice. And it also can ready something that's already been committed, so it doesn't have that caveat of hasn't been readied this turn. So
if you get two of these out, you don't get stunned anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he's also shares 2 symbols with Sense of Morals, so it's like you're never getting stunned. Coffee Samba might as well just be a $5 card now. So you know. You heard it here first, kids. You heard it here first. It may be wrong, but you heard it. So, it's reusable damage pump because it says you may add it to your staging area if face down committed. So there may be a few characters that would want to just use it and then kick it down. I know like Chun-Li, Maxi can bring it back and forth, twice per turn. So that's pretty cool. Or like you said pre-show where meant to steal your thunder, but with like multiple copies. Like you just go 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage. And that's
and
that's
right. And
sweet.
it's the kind of thing where some cards that like add stuff. I knew like Ulrich has like that kick that adds a card and seals it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like Nutcracker doesn't. So if you just add that, like
something that's foundations generally doesn't, right? Yeah. It's usually the attacks that they're worried about.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the thing is this also, it says your attack gets +2 damage, and you may add it. So like if you end up somehow blocking with this, and then play another attack, like you can just do the E to get it out of your card pool.
Yeah, that's a good find.
And unlike the spam that we spoiled on the previous show, this does not have the Fury requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do want to be a non-Fury Maxi, you can still get this effect.
Yeah.
Or like a partially Fury Maxi. So he is not as hard locked into Fury as we maybe thought he was.
But he wants to be a mad pirate,
have some Fury attacks, so you can use that spam. But it's not like you completely lose the ability to get this kind of effect.
Yep, true.
Man, it'd be wild too. It's just like something like this. Like if you just have like a Nutcracker or something, like you just like pull one in, like throw up another one, like bring them down, and like your storm count is already at like what 2 for Scorch Wheel.
For Scorch Wheel, we can see it. Is Scorch Wheel Maxi coming?
You can absolutely play Scorch Wheel.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see.
All right. So Dandy of the Seas would be next in the numerical order, but we previewed that on our last show, so we're moving on to probably one of the best foundations, I'm going to say, in the set now. I'm just going to say it right now. It's got to be it's hands down one of the best foundations in the set. This card is insane, okay?
If this is not one of the top 2 or 3 foundations in the set, I'm mortified for the rest of the set.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and it's only a rare,
what
too.
What are you talking about? It's a 2/4 no block. This sucks.
Yeah, we don't play those cards, right?
It has the, basically it readies at the start of the combat, your opponent's combat phase, so you can also activate that R right off the second you do it. So, and then if you need to commit it for something, it's crazy. It's
So this is, let's imagine you don't have anything that readies it. On your turn, it's 2 foundations because you get to commit it and ready something. So it's worth 2 commits on your turn.
Yeah.
And then on your opponent's turn, it readies, so that's a 3rd. it readies something else with it. That's a 4th.
Mm-hmm.
You commit it to block, and it's worth like 5 foundations. If you have no other way to ready it and trigger it like a second time on your turn.
Yeah.
That is a lot of foundations to be worth on 1 foundation.
Yeah.
No airbags like blew itself up to be worth 2.
It's just Maxi can ready it with his own ability, so he could.
Of course.
He could actually use it,
but only once.
Yeah, only. Okay, only.
Yeah. Now it is not worth like 5 foundations on the same card play. It's kind of spread out over playing a few cards, so it's not like you're going to use this to pump out Dragon Storms or something.
Yeah.
But it'll make getting through an aggressive turn on 3 or 4 foundations or something a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, this could be good for. Like we were talking about Siegfried for the other, or not Siegfried, Mitsurugi for the other one.
Yeah.
Like that's okay for him. Like is where all of a sudden like
pass your 5s.
Passing his like 5s, like a little more palatable sometimes. Of just like, all right, I'll just commit this and something and ready it, and it'll ready some more, and
Now, who's the dude in the background? In that
Keelik.
Oh, is that Keelik? Okay, I didn't know. So, honestly, I had no idea.
That is 1,000% Keelik. It's Keelik, Maxi, and Janqua are the main characters of the Soul Calibur 6 retelling story.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
They're the ones that make a march on the castle and fight Nightmare and stuff.
Oh, all right. So they're the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So you start as Keelik comes in, he finds Maxi and says like, "Hey, let me join you on your boat." And then
I want to be a pirate.
On fire. Yeah.
We're on a boat, motherfuckers.
That's a DLC pack, right?
So what do you guys think overall so far? Get some final thoughts on it as we close this episode out.
I'll say. Oh, go ahead.
I love the cards. I think they're really neat. They seem like they're just not tailored to him. Like we said, like Chun-Li, we got Felicia can get some use out of some of this stuff. You said even Mitsurugi can probably use some of this stuff too. So it's kind of neat that it's just not like, well, I have Morgan support, I'm just going to play Morgan support.
Half these cards are good at everybody, right? Yeah. Let's Close Ooze is fine for anybody. The Soulbot's fine for anybody.
Yeah.
The Foundation even, and what the Unique obviously good at anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And on the flip side, while you're almost certainly going to be playing some of Maxi's support in him, you're probably playing both of his foundations every time.
Yeah.
You're not just going to start your deck with, all right, here's the first 30 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're going to look at these. You're probably going to think about each and every one of them as potential options.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to say yes to some and you're going to say no to some. Or you'll run some at 1 or 2 copies and some at 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And, you'll still have to explore the card pool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was sort of curious how his support was going to kind of work with his E of adding stuff into the card pool. And, we can see that he has a couple of foundations that then will clear themselves again, and an attack that'll take one out if you add something else.
Yeah.
So he definitely has sort of these tools to kind of go up, down, so they're just swinging back and forth. And that's good. Obviously if he's just throwing stuff in his card pool and it's getting stuck there, it's kind of, I played a character like that once and it was all right, but I also had a ton of tools to ignore progressive.
Sure.
So yeah, I think he's going to be pretty fun. Obviously he looks like he can't be stunned.
I think ace maneuvers would be pretty good in him too, since you're
yep,
ace maneuvers,
those things.
And then
also a Fury.
Yeah, it's a Fury. You could I don't know, you may play Find What Was Lost just for the marginal 1 to 4, 3 damage, whatever you're gonna get. I don't know if it's worth playing it for that much, right?
Getting plus 2 damage for free twice in a turn is fantastic.
Okay,
so, I think with his support, and I guess we'll have to see everybody's support, but I think there's every chance that when all the smoke clears, Maxi's actually the best character in the set. He needs to find any of those 8 foundations, and then his ability is free or very close to free.
Yeah.
Get a momentum.
And that's the thing, is
he has a very good
he spends momentum real well.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Because
what? You can just spend that E on defense.
Because what? It's
ready some important defensive piece.
It's like what 1 in 3 he gets, 1 speed, 3 damage. So
1 speed, 3 damage, and already a foundation.
That's not horrible. That's not bad.
That is a great rate. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we heard it here, kids. Our world champion said Maxi could be the best character in the set.
He could be.
Could be.
He just needs to. If 720s can survive,
yes,
he's going to be good.
I think with Wandering Pirate, we may be able to survive some missile launchers and coffee sambas. I think some of his support says that. So we're going to go ahead and bring the Maxi episode to close. Look out for the other two. We're going to be doing Sophitia and Siegfried. Those will be coming out too. So if you watch those two, watch this one because watch them all. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, Jesco Games. Thanks, guys, for coming on, and we'll catch you next time on the special Soul Calibur preview show. Bye.